let's talk about Spain banning ball pythons, savanna monitors, Vietnamese pot-bellied pigs, and Florida peninsula cooter, I think. So anyways, it's really interesting that they're actually going to ban one of the most widely kept tropical species, which is Python regis. This is a ball python. And if we kind of look at the whole thing, most of Spain is temperate. So that means that they do suffer things like frost. So they do get cold. And so easily a climate where ball pythons could not live, nor could a savanna monitor. This is all very, news to me, so I'm just kind of learning about this, but we wanted to kind of let people know about what's going on and how it could affect all of us ultimately. Maybe initially, since we don't live in Spain, it's really no worry to us. But for the people in Spain, obviously fellow hobbyists that love these animals like we do, it's very, very real and it's very concerning. So let's kind of break this down. So, savanna monitor from Africa. This is an animal that absolutely needs tropical, warm climate. It cannot tolerate freezing. It cannot tolerate temperatures near freezing. An animal like this will like to bask 120, 130 degrees after eating its meal. If you actually take an animal like this and you subject it to just even 80 degrees and you actually feed it, this animal will often suffer, will actually make it sick, and long term an animal will die. Secondly, when we're talking about the reason for banning these animals, ball pythons, these guys, the Vietnamese pot-bellied pigs, we're talking about them being invasive. So that means that these animals that are not normally known to live there from other countries are being kept by pets and they're being released into the environment. So the worry is by Spain's government is that these animals could get loose, they could establish non-native populations, invasive populations, which then would basically threaten their biodiversity. So it would basically outcompete local indigenous fauna and wildlife and also affect their ecosystem. And that is all absolutely valid in some cases. So if we're talking about the Vietnamese pot-bellied pig, pigs are incredibly good invasives. They can get into the environment, they can survive in so many different situations and certainly temperatures, and as long as there's food and they can basically function, they're going to live. And they're also talking about hybridization. They're talking about these animals could then basically breed with the native wildlife and create like this other hybrid, and that could cause further destruction. So when they're doing that, they're using the pig, and then they include the savanna monitor and the ball python. And they use in their argument, by including these and a turtle in the argument with the pigs, they're collectively bringing these animals into the argument, also saying to a person that doesn't know anything about reptiles, and most people don't know, they would think, oh, maybe those snakes could then start reproducing with the native fauna or the native reptiles of Spain. None of this is going to happen. With the pig, it is a valid conversation. With savanna monitors, ball pythons, and Florida's turtle, I don't think it's a good argument at all. Ball pythons need it tropical. They cannot tolerate cold, freezing temperatures, and actually be able to survive and reproduce where they become an invasive population absolutely will not happen. But the government, instead of using science and logic and actually depending on factual information by other people that are astute and very knowledgeable in what they're talking about, they actually go forward and out of hysteria and being maybe fed improper information and infactual or myths and fiction, they are then creating these laws. And if you actually go start reading some of this, I don't read Spanish, but talking to some of my friends that actually do read Spanish, they'll tell me that it doesn't sound very scientific at all. It sounds like it's basically based on hysteria. Some of my worries are this. There's people there that keep these animals, and what the law says, you can no longer import, sell, or breed these species of animals. So that means if I own any ball pythons, I need to immediately stop breeding them. So if I own savanna monitors, not that anybody's breeding savanna monitors in Spain, but if somebody was breeding them, you must stop. I cannot sell this animal. I am now kind of almost stuck with this animal. So by 2022, all of my ball pythons, so 100 ball pythons, I need to have them possibly all microchipped. I need to have them all ID'd. I need to then clarify what I actually have. I can no longer breed them. So in fact, they actually almost become a liability. I now am reliant that I need to take care of these animals. And if I was a heartless creature, maybe I'd want to kill them and freeze them. But most pet owners aren't going to want to do that because they love their animals, and we all have empathy. But so suddenly I can no longer keep these animals for maybe my intent, which was I want to collect ball pythons and I want to create living art. So I want to breed ball pythons in a spare bedroom with the rest of my family or whatever. There's people that have invested thousands of dollars, and it's very, it's like their lifelong dream, or what they've done years and years of work keeping these animals. I feel very, very sad for these animals and these people, because suddenly they're ball pythons, which is just pets. We are literally talking about pets. We're not talking about our need to keep guns or bombs or anything like that. We're just talking about our little pets that make our lives a little bit more full. What did Spain do to give the hobbyists there a chance to fight this, to argue this? Did they just suddenly just come out with this law, and then it looks like the way they did almost like the sky is falling, and they did a rush decision to basically list these animals? Doesn't sound like they did something that we have here in the United States, which is basically use science. Generally, we want to use science, present facts, why a ball python would actually be a good invasive, and what is the worry? What are the instances where the ball pythons have been found in the environment where they think, oh my God, there's a crisis, and they're worried. So they basically need to present an argument. Normally here we would try to have an argument presented. U.S. Fish and Wildlife would present an argument, and then there'd be an open period of time where we actually could argue it, and we could actually try to get some science. And if we're trying to defend against these proposed legislations, we would then argue our points. And people like myself, USARC, we would then collect all of our information, our husbandry, and all the different parameters of these animals, what these actual animals need to have in their lives to actually succeed. So we talk about temperatures, we talk about habitat, we talk about everything. Well, since Spain is largely temperate, a lot of these things right off the bat, these animals couldn't survive. They would actually die. This is more focused on the Canary Islands. So that's the most tropical area of Spain. So we basically have this small region of Spain that has possibly the right temperature where, say, like a bearded dragon or something like that could live outside. And somewhere along the line, somebody has taken it upon themselves that ball pythons are a worry, savanna monitors are a worry, the pot-bellied pigs are a worry, and these turtles are a worry. And what's interesting about the turtles, they're using the argument with the turtles, not just them being invasive and displacing local fauna, that the turtles carry salmonella. This is such a funny thing. This clearly is an indication that the people actually creating these laws are doing this all in hysteria. They don't even know what they're talking about. So when we talk about turtles and salmonella, a lot of times when we ever get salmonella from turtles, it means that we've kept pet turtles, water turtles, or not tortoises so much, but water turtles, where we're actually going, oh, my turtle likes to eat chicken. My turtle likes to eat raw meat. So I actually then go and give my animals something tainted with salmonella, something I bought at the grocery store. So if I take a piece of meat that's tainted with salmonella, I give it to my turtle, the turtle then ingests it. I can then infect my turtle with salmonella, and that animal will then shed that flora to somebody like me. So if I then keep my turtle, and 5 weeks later I'm playing with my turtle and I'm eating a sandwich, and then I've touched my turtle, I got salmonella bacteria all over my hands, and then I eat my sandwich and I ingest it and I give myself salmonella. Well, really it wasn't the turtle's fault. It's actually my fault because I infected the turtle from the beginning. So a lot of these animals are not just coming out of the normal environments full of salmonella. A lot of times this is a man-made occurrence. I have never had a single episode of salmonella transmission due to my animals. But go to a grocery store, rub your fingers along the cellophane of all that meat. You know what your chances of getting salmonella and E. coli are? Far more than touching my animals. But we go into grocery stores, happy music, everybody's happy, never thinking about the biohazard that exists underneath cellophane. When we start looking at the National Humane Society, and they're always going to want to try to tell you how reptiles are a great source of salmonella and all these different things, these are talking points which create hysteria. And to people that are untrained and do not know much of reptiles, it instantly creates a valid argument to them. Oh, well, those things carry disease. Those things are going to hybridize. Those things are going to eat everything. They're going to displace everything. The ball pythons are going to burrow. So if it gets cold, they just burrow underground and wait for the cold to pass, and they'll come back out. All these different things. These things, to somebody who doesn't know anything, might make a little bit of sense, but with a little bit of logic, a little bit of reasoning, a little bit of science, these things are absolutely not true. I would tear them apart. And therefore, I'm very worried because I don't think the people in Spain had really much of a chance to argue this. I think this law was just thrown at them. So the law is essentially, as of a few days ago, has pretty much passed. And I think there's still a chance to fight it. There is a petition going on. We need at least 50,000 signatures on the petition. Basically, wherever you are, if you see this petition, you want to sign it and you want to object to the idea that Spain's government would actually, without any science, without any logic and reasoning, they would move forward and propose and pass laws which basically greatly changed pet keeping in Spain. I hope that the hobbyists of Spain and anybody involved have a chance to collect themselves. I would certainly always offer my hand to help. And I think the most important thing is we're actually talking. So many people here thinking, oh, can't happen here. We're not going to ban things. We're not going to do this. Oh, please help us, government, please step in and help us regulate different genes because these genes shouldn't be bred. And we need government intrusion. We need all this different stuff. These are pets. We're all on the same team. We are a community of hobbyists and animal lovers. When we bicker amongst ourselves, we basically show our Achilles heel, we show weakness, we show our ability to be easily divided. We can easily divide something just by one little notion. It goes on the internet, goes on YouTube, start the bickering, and then we all just run off into our own little corners and we lick our wounds. I do not sell any animals to Spain. I've sold animals that ultimately went to Spain. This is not about me worrying about my pocket. I have no sales in Spain. This is about me worried about my fellow herpetoculturists and other animal lovers. I love these animals just as you do, probably more so than many. Dozer, come here! Come on! Oh, you're getting tired! But I love these animals and it's very important to me. We need to be on the same team. U.S. ARC here in the United States is critical in our lives. So thank goodness that we have U.S. ARC. I'm very involved in U.S. ARC. Phil Goss is wonderful. They are working so hard. There's so many laws coming down the pipeline every single day. And if you think that somebody else is going to do the fight for you, you're wrong. We need to all be on the same page. We all need to fight because Spain has just really changed everything. And I really hope we can turn this around. It really looks like these people have no idea what they're actually banning. It's almost like a joke. These people don't even know. They're like, it's just like they just set forth these ideas, and it's just, I don't know what kind of government it is, but some people are really, complaining about the abuse of their government and what they're actually thinking. But this is definitely a government overreach, and we need to keep talking. So I would love to hear what people have to say, and let's get this thing going. But this is not fake news. This is very important. This is very real. So if you still think this is fake news and you think I'm a liar, I don't know what to say. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, hit the notification button, and please comment. Continue the conversation. We want to hear what's going on. We want to get people talking because the more people that talk about this and the more this becomes coffee talk, the better.